Hey y'all, it's the third Friday of the month, and this is Angie from Happy Girl Paper Crafting, and I'm getting ready to do my monthly collaboration with my team, the Crafty Bunch, and our leader, Erin Jacobson from Crafty Concepts with Erin, where we all have a sketch that she chooses from the catalog, and this is from 25-26 catalog, the main one from Stampin' Up, and so we're all you're gonna see my take on this, and it's interesting because it's from a Missouri State Penitentiary trip that I took a couple years ago with my team from work, and I had been there before back in 1995 on the O.J. Simpson verdict day. A little bit of a crazy day, and I got a tour back then, and so I could kind of compare notes with the new tour. But it was in operation back then, and now it's closed and been closed for many years now. So a pretty cool, interesting trip. I'll tell you more about it in the video, and I'm using new product from the January to April 2026 mini catalog from Stampin' Up that's coming out January 6th. For all the stuff comes online January 6th to buy. Can't wait for you to see that product. You're gonna love it. Check it out. All right, here is the sketch that our team is using for today's collaboration, and it's from the 25-26 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog, and I really like it. Yeah, I feel like I can do so much with this, and I have the perfect pictures to go with it, but I want to show you the paper I'm going to use first here. And get excited, folks. This paper called Exploring Nature is coming out in January 6th, where you can buy it in January 6th from the January to April catalog, mini catalog. I think the colors are amazing and just so beautiful. I couldn't wait to get my hands on this, and I think it's perfect. I find the perfect paper within this set for this project. So, pretty happy with this. Now, this first paper here is, well, I like the back side first. I'm going to show you that. And then this is the cloud cover, kind of a distressed looking paper. But when I saw it, I saw prison bars. Look closely in the pretty peacock lines on the paper. I see prison bars. And that's handy because it's for this Missouri State Penitentiary trip photos that I took. And I think it's perfect. It's going to go great with that. And then I will accent it with this pretty peacock since the lines on the other side are in pretty peacock. And look at this pretty. These are the single-sided pages that come with scrapbooking kits, and I love them. They're a really nice neutral, and I love the distressed version of that. And I love the layouts on the kit too. I'm probably going to follow some of those to a certain extent pretty soon. Look at this paper here. It's got a really cool distressed pattern on it and words, great for older photos, and then that nice neutral grid paper. And this is kind of a bigger grid paper in the Secret Sea color, and look at all these colors on this side here. I don't know what I'm doing with it yet, but I can't wait till you do something with it. And then this is some more of the single-sided paper that's special to the scrapbooking pack, and it's in Secret Sea distressed. There's your cards that you can use if you don't have your photos yet, and here's all of the punch outs you use. These are awesome. I'm going to have the best time with this kit. It's got all kinds of cool outdoor layout words, and then but it also has some other things. I may be able to use a little bit of these sayings on my son's sports pages. I really like all the variety on this sticker sheet and the punch outs pages that come with this kit. And of course it comes with cardstock. You got several sheets of white, some cloud cover, I believe, Secret Sea, Night of Navy, Pretty Peacock, I believe that's Crumb Cake. There's the opposite side of all of those because you have the dark and light side. Super excited. This is the best scrapbooking kit that I've seen here, well, in just a little while. And here's the pictures. Looky here at me behind bars. Do I look pretty pathetic to you? I thought that was such a funny picture. Oh, and here's my mug shots. Yeah, these were a fun little thing you could do here right before at the beginning of the tour. So there's me in my mug shots, and there's me in some nasty little cells. And this is an old prison. It was the oldest prison west of the Mississippi, and so it's pretty nasty in there, but pretty cool too. I thought it was really neat. And like I said, I did go over there in 1995. Here's some paper, and this is from our kits section in the catalog, and I've been dying to use it because it looks like concrete, and it's a scrapbook. It's the only scrapbooking kit in the kits section. There's our paper that I picked. This is the primary paper that I'm using in this. There's my prison bars, and there's the pretty peacock that I'll be accenting it with. Now, I'm going to cut the strips to where you can see the top and bottom of the bar, so it looks like prison bars, and then I will go around the edges with that pretty peacock paper on the back there. And so I'm looking to do a strip on the top and a strip on the bottom, and I'm going to distress the edges of everything here because I think that goes with the theme really nicely. And so on this side, to go with our challenge page there, to our collaboration, we'll put my pictures, probably my mugshot pictures over there. And I want a big piece of this to go off on the left side there, a pretty large rectangle, and then the opposite side, a smaller rectangle to go up against it. And that's not in the sketch, but I think it will look great with the way I want to set up the paper on the other side with my prison bars along the top and the bottom. All right, so here's kind of a little basic look at how I want to lay out the photos, and just taking a little peek at what they look like on the different colors of the paper that I've chosen to use. And I think it's going to be great, especially that the pretty peacock actually looks pretty good with the faded paint on the bars and in the right hand side page there of all those in the cell pictures, me in the cell. All right, so this is kind of the basic layout of where the photos are going to go. And I went ahead and cut up all my pages, and I went ahead and distressed the edges of everything off camera because that's a long, boring process, and I figured you wouldn't want to hear the sound of that either. It's very loud and very kind of like scratchy, so you're welcome. I took care of that off camera. All right, so I'm laying it out here like this, and I'm thinking about my photo mats, and definitely going to use this Secret C, and I went ahead and distressed all those edges on those. So for the outer edges, just the Secret C background, and then I want Secret C on all the other bigger pictures too, but I'm going to put an inner layer of the pretty peacock in distress, the inner layer and the outer layer of that. Now, check out how good this looks. It's all distressed up all along the edges, but I put the pretty peacock along the edges, just little thin strips along the edges of the other paper there, the cloud cover striped prison bar paper. And I thought it looked beautiful, like in a very distressed sort of way. It was pretty cool. The distressing really goes along with the theme here because everything about that old prison is distressed. So here are my photo mats. I double photo matted all the big ones, like I said, and see the pretty peacock with the Secret C background. Those two colors look gorgeous together, and that's one of the things I like about this paper pack is all the beautiful blues and blue greens and grayish colors. All right, there's my double mat there. And then I'm just going to show you how I distress the edges a little bit with this last little photo mat section. Just showing you just a little tiny clip of this because it's boring. But this is my Tim Holtz distresser with all those notches have razors in them. And so you just kind of pick your favorite notch and however you like it looks. And we have the white core paper, of course, and so when you scratch it along there, it starts making it look more and more raggedy, and you can just kind of gauge your level of raggedy that you want on those edges. And so I finished that off camera, got it all glued onto the photo, all glued onto that, and look how cool it looks. I think it looks great, perfect for this particular little project here. All right, so I'm gonna lay that down. Now I have some other pictures, and well, I'm thinking about the title. I've got the pictures in the right places. The circular element, I believe, is going to be my title, and then up at the top, I'm thinking about some letters up there, maybe MSP for the Missouri State Penitentiary. Right-hand side is going to have on the top right something, and the bottom left something. All right, let's work on the title. Looky here, Exploring Nature Stamp Set. Love it. I just love the way they do the wording on that. Now check out my shirt. Look what it says. It says wild and free. I did not even plan that when I was coming to this prison setting. It just turned out to be kind of a funny little coincidence. And then look at the stamp set. That matches it perfectly. Because I have no doubt it's best to stay wild and free because you don't want to stay put in a nasty prison like this. So that's going to be the perfect title for that. And it's kind of round. So I'm here it is again, and I'm getting ready to give you an example of stamping it. And I'm bringing bringing in my stamp positioner. And sorry about the video quality here. Oh, well, there's a Pretty Peacock is the color I'm using, but I didn't have good positioning on my stamp positioner at first, but I'm about to fix that for you. So we're putting down a piece of white cardstock. So I thought and I'm going to use the Pretty Peacock ink. And I've got the stamp already positioned on there, and it's kind of sticky because it's new, so I'm kind of rubbing my hand and all over it to get the sticky off of it, because those new stamps are like that. All right, now I'm about to there you go. I got a little bit better view of it when I zoomed out. All right, we're going to ink that thing up, and I use the stamp positioner because it's a pretty big stamp. I want to make sure I get good coverage, and the stamp positioner helps you kind of be able to stamp over it a second time, a third time, whatever it takes to make it look like a good image. And my F on this image is not very good, so I can just go on there, ink it up again, and then press it down, and it's going to turn out great. I love stamp positioners. These particular kind are kind of expensive, but I don't know, it's worth it to me because you can get such perfection out of it. Look how good that looks. And the color is not showing up very well, but that Pretty Peacock looks good. So I fussy cut it all out, and it already looks good against that Pretty Peacock background. But I think I want to put a circular element, but it's not really circular. So I remember that I have a stamp and die set that is more of an oval shape. Okay, this is a retired set, I believe, but it is from a flowered set, and it has these cool looking ovals on it. So I decided to go ahead and cut one of those out in Secret Sea, that dark Secret Sea color, because it'll look great with this Pretty Peacock and up against the backing of Pretty Peacock. Look, that's like it was made for it. I could not be happier about that. That worked out really well. All right, so we're going to put it down on there, and it looks great. I'm going to put something up at the top there. And Missouri State Penitentiary, we always called it MSP. So I used my party alphabet, great big party alphabet dies. And I'm going to cut out my MSP letters to go up in that spot on the left rather than have the banner element. But first, I took a photo that I took of a watchtower from this prison, and I fussy cut it out, and it's going to go up there in the top right. That could not be more perfect, am I right? Well, it could be. I'm going to put a little circle, a little oval behind it as well in the Secret Sea, and that made it, I think, even better. So I was super happy with that. I love taking pictures of things and then cutting them out and using them as embellishments on my things, because I mean, this is look at there's another embellishment. This is a bunch of a pegboard full of prison-made knives, and I did go ahead and border it in that Secret Sea paper and distressed it. Yeah, that's something that was on the wall at the beginning of this tour, and I used to see so many of those. So now let's go ahead and start getting my letters together for MSP. And I'm going to show you the die cutting process here, just in case there are some of you all who aren't really much into die cutting. So I made my little sandwich there and put MSP on Secret Sea cardstock. And these are just plain letters here that I ran through regular, and they look great, and I'm happy with those. But I did just get a new embossing folder that I think is perfect because it looks like stones with vegetation growing on them. Check this out. This is also in that new catalog that all the rest has come through there. It looks like stones. The whole fence around this place, this prison, is built of rock like that, of stone like that, with the vegetation all growing all up on it. So it's perfect. So I'm going to run a piece of paper through there to get that embossed image of the stonework with the vegetation onto my, Secret Sea cardstock. And I want to cut some letters out of it. So we're going to run that through. Yeah, those walls at that prison are made from the sandstone there along the Mississippi and in that region. And so, yeah, see, look at there. That's perfect. I just love that embossing folder. I can use that in so many ways. I have an Italy trip that I'm still documenting and scrapbooking, and it's going to look really good there. So now I'm just going to lay my letters over top of it. I'm about to learn a little lesson here, and I'm going to teach. That's why I chose to leave this in and teach you a lesson about this. I've already run it through once, and it just got it all bumped up, the three-dimensional die cutting folder, and now I'm going to run letters through, so it's going through a second time. And then when I pulled it out of there and took a look at it, I realized it kind of smushed down my pretty embossing of that stone with the vegetation. It's still there, you can still see it, but it really smushed it down, which bummed me out. So I was like, oh, now hold up a minute, I've already cut plain letters, so I think it would be smarter to run those through with that folder, that embossing folder, so that it'll get the more pretty dimensional bumped up image that I wanted in the first place. So luckily I had that second set of letters. And also, when you put your folders, your embossing folders through your die cutting machine, be sure that the fold side goes through first, because you can actually break that in half if you don't do it that way. I learned that from watching Erin Jacobson, I believe, is the one who I learned that lesson from. I thought that was a great lesson because I never knew that. All right, there we go. It's much more bumped up. It's hard to see in this video how much more bumped up that second image is than the one that went through twice. Yep. So now I'll just use that other set as a layer underneath it to make the letters stick up more and make them more dimensional rather than use foam tape, because I don't like to use foam tape on my scrapbooks. All right, here we go. MSP, Missouri State Penitentiary. That's, like I said, if you were a prison worker, that's what we all called that place. We always call it by the letters. PCC I worked at, FCC, ERDCC, and then this tour here, MSP. And so now I'm going to eventually put my journaling down in the bottom right there, so that'll stay open. But I thought I want to add a little something else to it, and I found in my die cut stash these badges. So I did the light side and the dark side on the Secret C, and then I layered them up. And I really liked that. I thought I wore a badge for the first couple years and the last 5.5 years of my career. So I thought it'd be cool to put little badges on there, in honor of my career in corrections onto this particular page. And I think it's kind of a nice little additional embellishment that really goes with the theme. Super, super cool. I love it. And I told you I went to MSP back in 1995 on O.J. Simpson's verdict day. It was a work trip, but they did give me the full tour. I mean, the license plate factory, the execution chamber. Here is the set, and this is a old Tim Holtz set, Sizzix set of thinlits, and I don't even see a title on there, so I'm sure that might be hard to get now, but anyway, it's great to be able to use stuff from my stash. But anyway, what I was saying was I got that cool tour down there, and I'm sitting here looking at this, and I want to add something more embellishment-wise, and to me, prison isn't prison without razor wire. So check out this stamp set that we have. Of course, I had it upside down like an idiot, and but it's got these cool little die cuts that look like scribbly circles and scribbly shapes. So I cut those out of silver, the oval shaped ones, and I'm going to kind of lay them on their sides. And I've got an inner one and an outer one, and I'm going to cross them over each other so that they look like the bundled up razor wire that runs along the top of the fence at prisons. And so I'm pretty happy with how this is looking so far. Once I get it laid out here, I think I'm gonna stick with that. So I'm gonna tinker with that a little bit and get it situated all around the top there, and we'll make a final decision. But I'm leaning towards liking that. I think it looks pretty cool. But anyway, the day I was there, we did go into the execution chamber. The guy who I was with all day had a little pull, so because he was able to get me in all the cool housing units. And they had an ADSEG housing unit that was just nasty, and a 3-tiered wing where they had these catwalks across the top. And I'm telling you, even if I was a cat, I wouldn't be walking across those catwalks. But if I was the guards doing the counts, I definitely would have preferred that to going up and down 3 flights of stairs to count that third top walk. So anyway, it was a really neat tour back then, a lot more to it, and the prison was still open. So by the end of that day, I thought, yeah, I would not be working in prison if that were the prison I had to work in. It was a pretty scary, dangerous looking place. Many of the offenders I worked with at Potosi Correctional Center when I worked the death row housing unit had come from there, and yeah, it was it's a real scary prison back when it was in its heyday, when it was still open. Lots of dangerous things there, lots of murders. They call that bloodiest the bloodiest 47 acres west of the Mississippi. That was Time magazine in an article back in the day. I don't know the year, but it's accurate. All right, I love how it looks. So I glued it all down, and I feel like that did it. That did it for me. I feel like we're done. So check it out. Look at that. That guard tower with that razor wire up there, that is sick. I love it. It's so cool. And all my little shank board down there on the pegboard, and my MSP letters with the razor wire behind it. All that distressing. My funny little title that goes with my shirt. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Aren't those colors super cool too? They're pretty, but they're also just appropriate for they go well with the pictures. I hope you really like it. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll do that today. And here are some still shots, and we'll catch up with you later. Keep your eye out. I got more videos coming. I'm on a 2-week break from my job over Christmas, and I'm going to be doing a lot of scrapbooking and posting. So y'all have happy holidays.